and UK police force that shot its own race relations advisor with a stun gun in 2017 after mistaking him for a wanted man has once again confused him for the very same person.
Here's a summary of the article.
A police force that shot its own race relations advisor with a stun gun in 2017 after mistaking him for a wanted man has once again confused him for the very same person. Officers from Avon and Somerset Police approached Judah Adunby on Wednesday and asked him if he was Royston McCalla, before driving off laughing, Adunby has said. The incident came only 6 weeks after the force's chief constable expressed regret about the incident in 2017 in which Adunby, who has worked to improve relations between the police and Bristol's black community, was shot in the face with a stun gun after being mistaken for McCalla. Adunby, a Rastafarian who is known as Ross Judah, said 2 officers pulled up alongside him in a police car as he left a shop near his home in Bristol. They had enough time to look at me and know it was me. Millions of people have seen the video of me. The police ought to know me by now. The police ought to know where I live now, that this is my street. On Thursday evening, Avon and Somerset Police acknowledged that the incident had taken place. Officers on patrol in a marked car drove alongside a man in Chelsea Road yesterday evening to ask for his name, as they thought he might be a man wanted for a grievous bodily harm offence committed in Filton Avenue, Bristol, in the early hours of the 11th of October 2018.
This post received a score of 51,495, with an upvote ratio of 88%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
How do they not include a picture of the wanted man in this story?
I'm forced to assume that they look exactly alike.
Reading just the headline, it implies that these guys must really look alike. The only reason I even clicked it was because I was curious to compare their pictures.
Reading the article informs you that there was no confusion.
Greater than officers from Avon and Somerset Police approached Judah Adunby on Wednesday and asked him if he was Royston McCalla, before driving off laughing. Adunby has said, "Ugh, that's even worse. Greater than, they were shouting, 'Hey Royston, Royston,' but I just kept my head down. They pulled in by the shop and kept calling me Royston," he told the Bristol Post. "I decided to ignore them. They were saying, 'Are you Royston or are you Rass?'" Greater than Adunby, 64, said the officers were giggling about the incident as they drove past him. Greater than, "I felt terrible. I walked home and locked my door and didn't want to go back out. To think this has happened again, and they were joking about it, winding me up."
Apparently, the incident last year was already the second time he'd been mistaken for Royston McCalla by the police. Bristolpost.co.uk/news/Bristol-news/exclusive-Judah-Adunby-didn't-give-2096279 From a week ago, Mr. Adunby explains why he behaved somewhat antagonistically towards the police last year. "In 2008 or 2009, I was walking with a police constable's son up Stapleton Road. 3 officers in a patrol car pulled over and talked to each other, looking at me," he said. "It really seems like this latest occurrence is a couple of officers pouring salt into the wound. Seems weird to me. How long have they been looking for this fucking guy, and why does everyone know what he looks like, and if it was him, why would he say, 'Oh yes, Royston, that's me, take me to jail now'?"
These people are also often fairly resigned to the idea that the police know perfectly well who they are and to the fact that they get nicked several times a year, so will gladly admit who they are because it's only going to delay the inevitable if the police have to properly fingerprint them and start running ID checks. I'd assume this Mr. McCalla is one of these individuals. If that's the case, then that really makes this situation even worse. If this Mr. McCalla is one of said regular customers, then I'd bet every copper on that beat has met him and probably arrested him at least once, so they should really know when it's a different chap.
Here's another interesting quote from the article one linked to in my earlier post. "The first time they mistook me for Royston McCalla was in 2008, and he was actually in prison at the time. That's how crazy this is." Unless Mr. Adunby is embellishing his story for the interviewer, it would seem that the police were so accustomed to arresting Mr. McCalla that force of habit led them to try it even when they'd already caught him. Perhaps they thought he'd escaped. A relevant side note, the article can't seem to decide whether it's McCalla or McCalla.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smry.com, without any human intervention.